How's it going, guys? So today's a really exciting day for me because we're going to be setting up an enclosure for some brand new animals that you guys haven't seen before. So if you remember, my western blue tongues were living up here in this top enclosure, but now today I've just moved them down here into this new setup. It's basically the same sort of idea as their setup on top, just down below, except I've added in a few new things. I've just came back from a trip inland where I got some plants as well as a bunch of red sand. That's what I'm going to be using in this new enclosure build. I moved these guys down here to make room for the new animals that are going to be on top. My little blotch blue tongues that I was growing up in this enclosure are now big enough to go outside, so that's where they are now. So these guys look absolutely awesome here in this new setup. That red sand really makes their colours pop and just makes it all look a lot more natural, which I absolutely love. So we're going to set up this top enclosure for these new animals, which I'll reveal at the end of the video. I'll put them in and see how they like it. But this one is going to be basically like this one, but an even more outback desert theme. So let's get started. So as always, we'll start with our substrate. Like I mentioned before, I've got this bunch of this beautiful red sandy soil from my trip inland. Let's put that in. It's going to look awesome. Awesome already. So there's the substrate in. I absolutely love the look of red sand. Just looks beautiful. And because this stuff was harvested from nature, it probably has a lot more vitamins and minerals in it than just normal stuff you get from the pet shop, so that's a cool little bonus. So now that we have the substrate in, we're going to start setting it up with the different decorations. The environment where this species naturally comes from is really quite dry, bare, barren, and it's a really harsh place. So it's going to be a simple setup, just a few simple things in there, but the things I have will hopefully make the enclosure pop and look really awesome and natural. So hides are really important for reptiles. They need to feel nice and safe and secure, so I was lucky enough to find a bunch of these awesome sort of dead dry plants when I was out getting the sand, and so I'm going to chuck a few of these in around the place and see how they look. I think it'll be absolutely awesome. I really prefer to use the natural plants nowadays because, for one, they actually look completely real and natural, and two, they're not really going to cause any harm to the animals, whereas plastics, you know, if they did possibly eat it, it's not good as well. If it's close to a heat source, it could possibly produce fumes, so I like to stick with natural stuff these days as a general rule. So I'm thinking this one will look cool if I put it over in this back corner, sort of away from the lights, of course. You don't want any sort of fire hazards or anything like that. Something like that will be pretty sweet, I think. And I've also got some other little smaller ones you can hopefully put around the place. Let's see how this one looks. That's too close to the light, don't want it touching. Might not use that one, might be too big. This one could be pretty cool though, I think. Something like that. It's a nice sort of bushy, barren environment. So I'm thinking something like this so far. We've got our two dried plants there where the animals can sort of hide in, and it also looks really cool and natural. And then of course we've got a big hide here, just like we have for the westerns down the bottom. But so this is just basically a plank of wood where I've made into fake rock on the edge here, and just supported with more wood. And then what I'm going to do is cover the front edge there with some substrate to make it look like it's sort of a natural sort of rock coming out of the ground, and then they burrow it underneath it. So I'll just go there. There we have it, the hide's covered over, a few rocks scattered around it. And then I think the final touch I'll add is some good old gum leaves just scattered around the place, just for a bit of extra stuff to look at and for the animals to interact with. I just have to mention, the reason why these enclosures are so nice and brightly lit up and just so beautiful looking is because I'm using these Arcadia T5, Pro T5 lights, and I'm using the 12% UVBs on these ones because of the distance they're at. Gives them the optimal amount of UVB these desert species need. What's great is that the two light systems actually only run off one power source. I have a cord that connects from this top one down to this bottom one that links them together. They can connect up to 10 at a time, and it just saves so much room on your power board for your other lights. Alright, so there we have it. I added in another plant over on the side there, and I think it looks really cool, as well as other little twigs and stuff. But that's the enclosure done. So the animals have a hide there, they can hide in this big bush, even behind that one, and yeah, just run around and explore. So I think it looks really cool. I'm keen to get the animals in, they should love it. And it's going to look cool looking at these two enclosures now, nice and desert themed setup. Those natural plants really make it pop in there. On that red sand too. It doesn't compare to fake stuff. So yeah, that's the enclosure done. Hope you enjoyed that. Now let's get to the reveal of these awesome new animals. Okay, so here we have it. These are the new reptiles. These are one of my dream species. I've loved these guys ever since I first knew about them. And it's taken a long time to be able to get them. I'm so glad I finally do. These are, of course, some beautiful Centralian blue-tongued skinks, otherwise known as Tiliqua multifasciata. And they are just little kegs. They are so cool. So what I have is a male and female sort of sub-adult pair. They'll get a bit bigger than this. That was the female. And this is the male. He's a bit more flighty than the girl. But they're both beautiful. He's more of a washed out colour, but she's got those nice red and orange colours. And they are just, yeah, beautiful. They've also had a bit of breeding action, which is really exciting, because that's the main sort of thing I got these guys for, was I really wanted to breed them, because there's not many breeders around anywhere, because they're considered to be harder to breed than other species of Tiliqua. But I'm just absolutely stoked. They're so cool. They're like little dinosaurs of the blue-tongue world. And yeah, these guys live in the hottest, most arid parts of Australia. So that's what the enclosure's mimicking. And so I've actually had these guys for quite a little while now. They've just been in quarantine though, so they've been in a sort of sterile, basic setup, just so I could monitor their health while I first had them. And I didn't really want to show you that, just because it's not very interesting. So here they are now. So let's get them in, see how they like it. Alright, so here we have the beauties. Here's the female on my left hand, the male here on the right hand. Absolutely awesome. Let's see how they like it. Put them right in. They're probably just going to hide right away, but we'll see what happens. They disappear into the plants like I thought they would. So I'm just absolutely stoked with how this has all turned out. Got the Centralians up the top now and the Westerns down the bottom. Two more rare species of Tiliqua that I get to just watch and share with you guys. So thanks for watching guys. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more Australian reptiles, make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified whenever I put up a video. And until then, I'll see you next time.